How do you teach the dog to have a 100% bomb-proof response to their name?
Yes, and this is the thing that often gets confused because it is a process. It's not just assuming that the dog knows their name, because they don't. They don't come home understanding that their name means anything different than all the other words we throw at them constantly. You know, dogs do not have language skills.
No.
We teach them to associate things with language that we use, but they learn sounds, not words. Like they don't have vocabulary per se.
They don't give each other names.
Exactly. They have a whole bunch of sounds that they've associated with specific actions. And of course, through repetition and through reward, we've made those actions valuable, and we've made those actions things that the dogs can repeat.
Right.
So the process of teaching response to name, a lot of the times people look at it and they think it's just step one. And then after step one, they expect the dog to respond to their name. But it's a little bit more than that. And it's about teaching the dog to reliably respond to their name.
Right.
So we start by first creating the bare bones association. And we call this loading it. So basically, what would that be?
You're going to say the dog's name and give a delicious treat. Say the dog's name, give a delicious treat.
So we load up the name, which is a really important part of the process. And how long would you estimate that you would spend on this process? Like on average, how many sessions per day? Everyone's always
Well, I
curious
usually,
about that.
so I'm feeding a baby puppy 3, maybe 4 times a day, depending on its age. So I might take the first 10 kibbles from every meal and, spot, and then put down the rest of them. And
Perfect.
then, other times during the day too, like I'm going to, do 2 or 3 repetitions of their name with a treat. So
I love that.
the first few days I'm doing it a lot. Probably the first week I'm really focusing on that.
Yeah, me too. And I really want to build that value up. I want my dog to go, okay, that sound is really awesome.
Right,
because
yes.
every time I hear that sound, I get goodies along with it. And wonderful things
It's
happen.
like when you want to open a bag of chips and you don't want your dog to know, and you sneak and get the chips, and then you sneak out to the couch and you try so hard. But the moment the dog hears that crinkle, zoom, they're right there. Like, you want to have that same response to their name that they have to the crinkle of a bag of chips.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect expectations.
Right. Yes.
So I do the same thing. I would probably say, 3 or 4 days of multiple short sessions in a day. I'm focusing on just building up that association. And then I'm also working in between that, maybe not for the first couple of days, but as I start to transition into a little bit of a more of a distracted scenario, I am also working on helping them turn in response to their name.
Yes.
So basically what that looks like is me saying their name either as I'm turning them to create the association, depending on the puppy and what kind of distraction is there. I might do that, or I might use the food, say their name, then use the food and turn them. So in the early stages, a lot of the times I'm still thinking association work rather than prompting work. So if I say the name before I present the food to turn, then I'm prompting it. If I say the name as I'm doing the turn, then I'm creating the association, right? So there's benefits to both of those things. And depending on the puppy, you may want to spend more time in those association phases and then move on to the sort of showing phase.
Right.
So what I'm doing in those early days is I am letting my puppy get mildly distracted. So I am not, putting down a big bowl of food. I'm not bringing my other dogs into the room.
Right.
I'm not. Like, it's a white room, and I might just walk a couple of steps and then be boring. So basically my puppy goes from staring at me to, okay, what's that fluff on the floor over there? And once he starts to notice the fluff, not once he's really engrossed in like playing with the fluff and trying to grab it, but once he notices the fluff, that's when I'm going to help him with a little food on his nose, turn him, use that association, and then get in lots of rewards. So now I'm changing the picture a little bit.
And by food on the nose, you mean just getting some food pinched between your fingers and putting it in front of their nostrils. Yes.
Right in front of those nostrils. Yeah, absolutely.
Think like a donkey and a carrot. Sort of, you put that carrot in front of the donkey and they follow it along. Same with the dog. We're going to put that treat in front of their nose.
Absolutely.
Call their name, move the treat, and the dog's where the nose goes, the face goes.
It's true. Usually it's true.
Usually,
Yeah,
yes.
usually it's true. And that's awesome. Like what we're doing right now, we're not expecting the dog to know their name yet. So a lot of the times people think that. They'll think, okay, well, I spent, 2 or 3 days, 3 or 4 sessions per day, 10 kibbles a piece, loading up their name. So they should know their name now. But that's not the way it works.
Right.
You know, we really need to teach and show them what the expectation is, because as soon as there's a slight distraction in there, it changes the picture entirely for our puppies.
Yes.
And a lot of the times people expect far too much of the puppies without having put in the right amount of repetition.
We always
and
ask that in our classes.
Yeah.
When people come for in-person classes, we'll say, show of hands, who thinks their puppy knows their name?
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone in the class puts up their hand. And then sure enough, we have everyone say their puppy's name, and very few of the puppies look.
Yeah.
They might know what their name means in your kitchen, but they have no idea what their name means in our training hall.